この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I am here for Orb About the Movements of the Earth, episode 6, titled Move the World. And I am pumped to be back. For those who missed it, last week there was a fire and it was very near my town, danger close. And we spent a couple of days under evacuation notices and a couple of those afternoons standing outside in the front yard with neighbors, just watching the fire come up over the hill and wondering if we have to actually bounce, actually leave. Turned out we did not, thanks to the heroic effort of firefighters and multiple big tankers dropping water and stuff. They managed to hold the line on the fire and let it blow. Thank God the wind was going the other direction, mostly the other direction. It ended up burning thousands of acres of uninhabited land and polluting the air with something awful. I spent most of last week just crying and snotting and having a miserable time with allergies, but that has cleared now and we are safe and all is well. So a little brush with little brush with nature, a little brush with chance, but we're okay now and we're back for more Orb. So that's why we missed an episode last week. And it's a pivotal one because Akshi is standing face to face with the scarred monk who is his one lead to figuring out the information passed down to him in books and notices and letters by Rafal, and what has now been passed on to him, torch in hand, by Grass on the bridge. Akshi has nothing and no hope to help him through that emptiness. What is he going to find in Badeni? Who is this character who's going to take this step of the journey one step further? And how will their interaction change Oxy's hopeless worldview? That's what I'm excited to see today. If everything went well, there should be a little intro portion, a sponsor shout out at the beginning of this episode. It's been a little while since I've made one of those. I think Dungeon Meshi was the last one, and that was quite a while ago, given Dungeon Meshi was a lot of episodes. So it's been a while since I actually made one. I've had this idea in my head of how I wanted it to be. I wanted cool things like burning and burning away the characters, and I realized as I was trying to actually figure out what to do there that all the ideas that I had in my head were like really ambitious and would take processing and like digital graphics stuff that I don't have the chops for. So I ended up going with something a little bit simpler and I had to iterate on it a whole bunch of times. So in lieu of doing a drawing today, I'm just going to show you some of those burned up examples and just talk you through a little bit of my process for building that thing out. So initially I thought that this would be super easy. I cleared off a fire pit and got it all set up so that I could like lighter it from beneath and get the camera on it and up on a tripod and all that stuff. And then I was like, okay, I've got everything set. Let me test the paper. And I put down a piece of ordinary white printer paper and I lit it and it didn't burn. And then I tried and I lit it again and it didn't burn. It's like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? So then I tried a piece of the thicky paper that I usually use for drawings and stuff because it holds up a little bit better and it's the kind of paper that I would want to archive. And it also would not burn the way that I expected it to. I kind of had this idea in my mind that you touch a flame to paper and it just whoosh and it's gone. But man, there is some truth to what Potocki said. You really got to make sure that it all burns away and watch the whole thing. I actually spent time with this one just like holding a lighter to the edges and trying to get it to work. What am I going to do here? Okay, didn't work. So I drew out the solar system. You can see the last couple of planets here. I drew out the solar system on a piece of the blank printer paper, and then I took a spray bottle and filled it with isopropyl alcohol, and I sprayed that all over it, and then I put that down, and then I lit it, and it kind of burned, but it was kind of uneven and like sort of slow, and I still had to like relight it a couple of times, which totally ruins the video, right? I'd have to like cut those sections out, and you would be able to tell, and it just wouldn't look good. So it was racking my brain because like I sprayed it with an accelerant, and it still didn't work. Probably the isopropyl that I used isn't high enough percentage. I don't actually know what percentage it was, but probably it wasn't high enough percentage. So I tried the same thing with the thicky paper, hoping that the thick paper would hold the isopropyl a little bit better and help it burn. And it was even worse. It was genuinely even worse. So I was genuinely about to give up. I had this plan. I had my camera out there this morning, and I was like, I've burned a bunch of pieces of paper and none of them will freaking burn. And so I scrambled around and I dug around and I finally found, because I knew I had another stack of paper, I finally found this old box of linen style watermarked stationery paper that's 25% cotton, and it burned. It burned. It freaking burned. So I did a test one of it and it burned right up. It was not super fast, but it burned right up. So I came back in, and for like the fourth time I drew the same solar system that's in the book, or in the show, and I put it out there and I set it all up with the camera and I lit it and it freaking burned, and that's the take that I used. So by the time that goes up, I will have like imported that and done some editing on it. And the idea that I have is that like the character faces will get covered by the paper as it reverse burns away, because I want to take the image of it like burning out from the center and flip that, reverse it so that it burning edges inward toward the center. And I hope that I can find, there's this panel from both the manga and the anime of Rafal looking up at the window and the window streaming light down to him, and I want to place that in the center where the fire starts and have it be like everything collapses down back into that center point that is looking up at the sky, that is the window, and that's the source of the fire that burns everything apart. Yeah? So that's my like creative process for this, and I'm gonna take these, I'm gonna put them right here. Yeah, 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 and that's my art for the day. I did it. A little bit non-traditional, but it is the piece of art that I wanted to make today. Is actually a multimedia video experience thing, and it took some doing. So now I've talked through the doing and given you an insight into that. There's a little piece of it that makes me think of like, try again, don't give up when you fail, things like that. But also, like, maybe you just don't have the right you don't have the right tools and the right materials, and you're trying desperately to make a light bulb, but you don't have the right filament materials and you need to do a lot more experimenting. I'm sure that if I looked out there, I could find out what kind of paper actually burns really well. Like maybe it's 100% cotton paper or something else, like linen paper or something. I wonder what is used for like movies and music videos when you've got parchment that's like burning perfectly and it just burns away perfectly. Is that paper impregnated with like, I know that there's flash paper, which is like impregnated with gunpowder or with a chemical spray on it that makes it just light up. I don't know what I would have to do to make that experience, that idea, like perfect. Like if I had all the resources in the world and was a genuine cinematographer and had all the cameras and all the stuff, how would I set that up to be the best that it could be? Because what I did is kind of, like kind of amateur. Let's be kind and we'll call it amateur. It's garbage. It's like not great. It's still pretty cool, but it's like I know that I don't have the skills or tools that I need. So I wonder what material would be used and like what kind of like setup and staging and all of that stuff to get the best exposure of the flame itself and the way that it like licks across the edge of the paper, but also the material itself, getting it to burn properly. It's harder than I thought it would be. Does that have anything to do with orb? Probably not, but that's okay. What does maybe have some relevance to orb is a feeling that I had when I was watching that fire come over the hill. Sorry to come back to it, but I didn't think I was going to bring it up, but now I feel like I need to. There continue to be these moments in characters' lives in Orb where they're on a particular path and then something changes rapidly. Like Rafal getting caught, and then suddenly everything has changed and his life changes. Hubert, when he was walking and then suddenly in a moment, like a split-second decision, he chooses to sacrifice himself to save Rafal. It's like the whole world turns around that moment, and it's almost as though the characters have lost control in that second, and the choice that's made is to go along with that loss of control, to like, okay, here it goes. And then suddenly at that point, the path diverges and leads to destruction, loss, failure, death. In strange to bring this up, in a book series that is becoming very popular right now, Dungeon Crawler Carl, there's an idea in one of the later books called the inevitable ruin. And it's the moment when your fate is decided. And it usually happens much prior to when you see it, when you register it and are aware of it. But it's a moment where you've made a choice and everything else folds out from there, and the inevitable is decided. Your ruin is chosen for you in that moment. And that's not quite exactly it, but I'm sort of dancing around this idea. There are moments when the world decides that your life is going to go in a different direction. And we are almost built to fight against those, to control our lives, to force our direction. And there's something admirable about that human ability to forge through the destruction and the loss and the chaos and come out the other side with our goal still intact. But there's also something very powerful about taking a deep breath and letting what happens happen. Letting the current flow, letting the vastness of the world make its choices, and not spending too much effort fighting against the current. Something like that. When I was out there with neighbors and friends, watching the big plumes of smoke and the, cheering as big tankers went by and watching them drop the orange Phos-Chek or big tankerfuls of water, and everybody sort of united in hoping that this fire doesn't shift, that the wind doesn't change and suddenly endanger hundreds of houses that could be gone in an instant. I felt like I was in the midst of one of those potentially life-altering, world-altering moments. If that wind had shifted, I wouldn't be sitting where I am today. I would be sitting in a hotel room or in somebody's house, in somebody's garage, trying desperately to survive. But I would be able to hold on to my goals, too. I wouldn't have to let everything go because everything was gone. And that's because my goals have to do with a process, with something that I'm trying to build, something that I'm trying to sort of create continuously. And part of that creation is myself as a creative, and that lives on even if I lose every bit of computer and every camera and every microphone and every drawing that I've ever done. The capacity to draw won't escape me. The capacity to make these videos won't escape me. And because of the magic of distributed storage, my videos will exist. They'll stay alive. And so I found myself in a very strange state where I felt like I could lose everything and lose nothing. And I think that there's something close to that in the experience that some of these characters in Orb have had in their moment of inevitable ruin, their moment of realization of their fate. They seem to realize at the same time that what they care about won't be lost, not necessarily. That there's a chance for it to continue on, even if everything else, including them, burns up in the fire. And while I wasn't facing death, like I was confident that we would be able to escape the flames if they were to come down the hill, facing that possibility at all in a real way that's not as metaphorical or like a hypothetical thought experiment, but that's very real. You can literally see the fire. You can literally smell the smoke. It made me feel close in some way to Rafal at the end, to Hubert in his decision, to the heretic who is nameless, and to Grass as he falls. It made me feel a camaraderie with them as a finite creature witnessing the infinite chaos of nature in the form of an immense wildfire that could swallow up everything that I've ever worked for, and yet what I really care about would live on. It was an interesting feeling. I'm glad I got to express it. I'm going to take a moment and then transition us over to watching the episode. Okay, let's turn our attention to episode 6. Oxy, the man who cannot look up at the stars, the man who has no hope for himself or humanity in general in this world. is now the torchbearer, the only living person who is aware of the writings and documents up there in the cache on the mountain. He is bearing that torch forward to his one and only lead, the terribly scarred, tonsured monk Badeni, who I'm very curious about. He is positioned to be potentially the most pivotal character in the show so far. Rafal has passed the torch. Grass, in his interest, has passed the torch. But Badeni has the potential to interpret and understand. And I think where I want to start, what I'm hoping for from this episode, is an understanding of him. Where does he come from? Where do his scars come from? Because they are a curiosity. Who is he, and how will his attitude fold into this generation-spanning quest for knowledge and understanding? Gotta watch the episode to find out, so let's do it. I've got episode 6 of Orb on the Movements of the Earth up and ready to go. It's sitting at 0 seconds. There will be 2 versions of this reaction video. You can find a picture-in-picture version with the video up there, linked in the description down there. Subscribe while you're down there. Early access on the Patreon, also linked in the description. And a beep beep timer to count you down. Beep beep timer. As though he's terrified by him. Fair. Steps forward. Why do I feel like that was... Oh. Wow. So his scars have not come from war, I don't think. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Yes, they will change your life. He's not hiding it. He's honest, and that makes him more interested. This is the guy. Well, so I don't really understand the documents. However, but people have died for them. You're smart. I'm not educated. Yeah, but he doesn't know why he's doing this at all. Sana. Were you? I bet he remembers. He's dead now. Foop! Mine! Check, 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 check. He does have a cloudy eye. It's interesting, right? He knows about it. They didn't know about it. Oh. He's really stuck. Poor Akshi. He's gonna push him away. Yeah, there's nothing here. What can he say? Oh. I wonder what that means. Because, like, there are layers to that. Why must I be here in this shitty town, in this shitty church, in this current position, on this world, as a human being? Like, what does he mean? But he's got something burning inside him too. He's got a desire. It's just unclear to us what it is, and completely unclear to Oxy how the two things connect, right? Mm. An elite institution. He doesn't have the eye patch yet. You're too good. Are they mad at him for being too good? What the fuck? Oh. Oh, we got whips. Huh. Truly tall poppy. Well, shit. Hmm. He's really, really, really into it. An overachiever in every sense, huh? He's got balls. Okay. No, he's really dedicated. Hmm. Grasp what? Oh. Oh, wow. He fully believes in self. That's deeply arrogant. I don't know. I don't know, man. No, they aren't. Hmm. Hmm. But they don't. It's imperfect. Why? That can't be allowed. Yeah. Okay, so he's dedicated to it through faith. That doesn't do it for him. We can never reach it. What's gonna happen with his eye, man? You don't even talk about those. Yeah, we don't talk about those. Whoa. Why am I not allowed to use my God-given abilities to parse the information? Devilish. Yeah. It's gonna be viewed as Luciferian arrogance. Which removes your ability to see, your ability to work. Whoa. Doesn't matter. So he's gonna do it and lose his eye for it. Hmm. No. There's something going on. Oh, dude, this is such a trap. Or did he just put it out there to tempt you? I feel like it's just a trap, dude. God damn it. It's like Rafal's choice, the obvious way. So that would be bad politically, too. You won't even get any of the information! And it's worth it. Door! Heaven's door! Yeah, well, you're fucked. Damn. The book is closed. He's gonna stab a candle in his eye, isn't he? Okay. You'll ruin my chances at greatness. Wow! A random church somewhere stupid. Yeah, here goes the candle. He only gets one done. Fuck. Good times. Did he burn them both, or did he stop? We'll need your eyes. Uh-huh. Sure. It begins. He's not really into it. He's not sure. Oh, this is perfect. Shit, I forgot about that. Huh? Oh, he just fully would not take him seriously. What's gonna happen if you look up, Akshi? You have to look with your eyes. He's terrified. Yeah, you can just walk away. Let the torch burn out. What's he gonna see in his mind when he tries? And this as well? And who died satisfied? Ah, come on, man. Satisfied. What's worth it, man? In this world. It's right there. It's right there. Keep your eyes open. Fuck. He did it, okay? Up into the mountains we go. Oh shit, we're just here. Change the world, the title. Oh yeah. Oh, what? Was that just from freaking out? Or did you eat something bad? Excitement? He sees the truth. He sees straight through it. Driven by faith, too. Oh, yeah. Teach him to fucking read. Blah, 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 blah. It looks like Rafal. We're moving. Yeah. That's crazy. Impossible. Impossible. We would notice. We're going to go through retrograde. He's going to explain it properly, which I messed up in a couple of ways, but he's going to explain it for real, for real. It goes loop-de-loop. Why? Why does it loop-de-loop? Wakse no gyakko da. Make it ordered. And curve fit, right? Like fit. Fit our math to what we see, but because we're moving too. This track is cool. Really thumpy bass. Clunk. Come, walk in a circle around me. Come on, come on. You move faster. And he's moving backward. You're moving around and then you're moving backward as I close into you. And then fully reverse. Whoosh. This is a great explanation. You're moving again. It's just when we cross over. Ah, it's so cool! Ain't that the truth? Same line as before. We're not separate. It's not broken. No, the world is as beautiful as the heavens. But a piece of the firmament. We're a part of the heavens themselves. God damn. What a shift to Oxy's perspective. Yeah, take a seat, my guy. You might have to puke. He can look up. He can see. Oh my god, what a chills-inducing second half. Okay. Oh my god, I don't even think that there's gonna be that much to, like, talk about in this episode, except to just point at it and be like, that had an impact on me. taking away and then giving back Oxy's ability to look up. And all the moments of hesitation when I'm like, I'm calling for him to just look. Just look. It won't bite you. It's okay. Just look. It's like truth cuts through the fear. The fear of unknown is all that infests the heavens, and suddenly just seeing, just opening your eyes and looking dispels the nightmare. Wow. And that's episode 6 of Orb on the Movements of the Earth. I think that this last half, I mean, maybe even just the last 5 minutes, are extraordinary, but not in a way where they're like dramatically different from any other anime that I've ever seen or anything like that. They're just extraordinarily solid. The musical swells, the emotional build, all the setup moments that we've had of Oxy not being able to look up at the sky, and then suddenly we get that wide panoramic view of him shocked and overwhelmed by the beauty of the cosmos, and it's like it opens back up to him. This way of phrasing it just rhymes, just like rings true to me. Phrasing it as, no, earth is not, the heavens are not as corrupt as the earth. That's the mistake, the fundamental mistake. The fact is there's no separation at all. This beautiful universe that we've experienced from afar, what we didn't realize is that we're standing on it, man. Like, we're on star stuff. That's what you're standing on. You pick up a handful of sand and let it fall between your fingertips, and those are elements that were formed in the beginning of creation. Like, it's mind-bogglingly beautiful, and all it takes is the willingness to open your eyes and look and see and dispense with the layers of filters that you've placed upon yourself or that have been placed upon you by others that prevent Oxy from seeing what's really there. I really like the second half of this episode. I really like the explanation of retrograde, which we sort of went through in the last episode, but I think that this visual depiction and overall setup is like a really excellent way to describe it and makes it make perfect sense and makes it feel really good. And oh my god, it's just good. It's just good, man. You can tell which is simpler, right? The heavens, and he uses the same line, sublime, solemn, sacred, and sweeping, but they are also in harmony with the earth. They are not separate from us. And that doesn't mean that they're corrupted, it means that we are sublime, sacred, solemn, and sweeping too. We are a part of that mass. We're a part of that everything. How, like, can there be a more beautiful interpretation than that? Then it's not separate from you. Heaven is right here. It's what you make of it in your daily life, in your experience. And something else happens in the inability that Oxy has to look up, and then suddenly the ability that he has. Hell was right here for Oxy. Right here on Earth, despair, hopelessness, darkness, pain, death, murder, blood, all of it. Right here. He opens his eyes, he looks up to the sky, and when the fear and the eyeballs looking down at him, when all these layers of lies, right? They're layers of lies. It's not real. These nightmares, right? These figments, these fever dreams, when they are dispelled, it's the whole universe there. He's able to actually look up and experience a little slice of heaven. And that means that heaven is here, yeah? That means that it's an experience. It's a part of your lived experience. And maybe after you die, you could continue having more of that lived experience in some fucking weird way. I don't know. Nobody can prove it. But you can prove that Oxy felt something transcendent in that moment. Because he was in that moment a part of the universe, not separate from it, not not cut off by intellect, by our consciousness from life, from living, but a part of it, and capable through that consciousness, through that active understanding of grasping the reality and the beauty of that universe more. Oh my God, it's so fucking cool. So fucking cool. It has always been part of that beauty. But he's just so rocked by it. There one? Could it be? I really love it's so simple, but this like blur and twist out as he looks up. Ah, like blasted by the beauty of it. Do you feel God's grace? And for Badeni, it's offering me a great reward. This is pushing me toward my own. I will become the one who changes everything. He's got this definitely arrogant, definitely self-centered, definitely like I am destined for something. It's grandiose. It's a little bit narcissistic. It's very interesting. And then on the flip side is this willingness to punishment, willingness to receive punishment in order to pursue it, and this wholehearted belief that he will achieve something great, this like unshakable belief in his own greatness. It's really interesting. It makes me think more than anything, not of scientific figures or intellectuals, but of sports figures, famous sports figures. And maybe that's because the competitive nature of sports brings these sort of to the forefront and these stories become legends. But there are like significant bodies of myths and legends about some of the truly great sports players, like your Michael Jordans and your Wayne Gretzky's and your Tiger Woodses, who have this attitude where you can go and find interviews of them when they're 11 and they're like, I'm going to be the best in the fucking world, no matter what. Doesn't matter what sport I play, I'm in it. Like, some of them have that attitude of like, I'm going to tear myself apart completely in order to achieve this thing. And it's almost, if you zoom out from it, it's almost like there's a fate thread going, right? And the hags are setting this path for that person, and through hardship and terrible circumstances and all kinds of crazy stuff, they forge their way through that and come out the other side having achieved the goal they set out to when they were like 12. And it's strange. It's like a weird phenomenon that happens. That dedication, that like single-minded pursuit into the dispensing of everything else, is echoed in Badeni a little bit. There's this like, I am gifted and blessed with this talent toward understanding and knowledge, and I am going to be great because of it. I am this, something is going to happen. It's like he's waiting for the world to open the door, and he's just preparing himself and preparing himself and preparing himself to step through it. But it doesn't have, because it's in fiction, it doesn't have the sort of foolishness and arrogance that you get usually with like grandiose narcissists who believe that they're going to become president or like king of the world or some bullshit like that, where it falls flat compared to their actual output and their actual willingness to pursue the thing and their actual effort put in. Usually you see it imbalanced with this like, I'm going to be great but I don't actually work on anything. I'm going to have the best grades but I don't actually do my homework. I'm going to make the most money but I'm not actually building a business or anything like that. It's just the idea of self doesn't match up with the reality of self. But Denny's idea of self and his reality of self seem to match up very much so. He seems to actually have the talent and the skill, and to be backing that with dedication. It's just that dedication seems to come from a like a an unfounded belief in his own future greatness. Yeah, there's just isn't a foundation for it. He's building the foundation out of nothing, which is interesting and kind of admirable, but also has a little wrinkle of weirdness to it. It's applied to something else, it could be very off-putting. Applied to where it is for Badeni, it's almost like religious fervor, and there's an element of it that's a little bit off-putting, but it's also really interesting because it seems to be a result of his faith, an emergent property of his faith. We talk about you'll never be special, your moment of greatness, why all of this stuff, but the moment that I think is maybe most revealing is when he's caught with the book. His justification, his like the set of thoughts that he runs through has to do with the church losing its hold on the world. Like, we're selling selling indulgences and becoming more corrupt, and there are intersect fightings, and like all of this conflict within the church is going to make the church collapse. And then he folds that into like, and that's going to take me with you, you idiots. You're gonna ruin my damn career because you're making the company go under. It's really strange. Okay, so he's in a circumstance where, like Rafal, he has a very easy choice. I totally don't believe in any of this heliocentrism stuff. Let me go to school and study theology, and all is well. And instead, Rafal rips it up. I don't have any interest in what's in this book. I don't really care. It's fine. I'll just leave it, and I'm not going to endanger my career or anything like that. But both of them come to the same conclusion, that this step is necessary. Waiting for such a special instant. So then they tackle him. Actions like this will destroy the one true church. The Pope will be secularized. The abbeys will succumb to dogma. The church is getting rich selling indulgences. All of these are about the political system of the church, the current state of it. And he says, like, what you're doing, preventing curiosity, preventing seeking of knowledge, calling books heretical and stuff like that, is going to destroy the church. If that happens, you'll take me down with you. And his eventual justification is, and it's not about the church's survival, it's that I've hitched my wagon to the church and you're destroying the church. Really interesting. You are demoted. You will have everything removed from you. And I will burn your eyes. This is terrifying. It's terrifying. Some good ass body horror, some fucked up body horror, but I think that their dynamic starts off really interesting. Unwilling to even interact with him, you smell of blood, I'm a clergyman, keep yourself away from me, you're going to dirty me. Will these documents dramatically change my life? If it isn't life-changing, I'm not interested. Wow. He's much more pat, much more straightforward than I kind of expected. I really do wonder, did they burn both of his eyes? His eye color, the sort of gray tone that his eyes have, he had before that. They were still that silvery gray, which is an interesting eye color that comes from the region, Poland and Russia, and they're called Russian gray eyes. I have close to them, although mine are a little bit more blue-toned. I think that most people would consider me still having gray eyes, which is nice. It's neat, I guess. Little deeper blue than the true gray eyes, the like royal gray. They may be life-changing. They could anger the church, and he's interested then. The back and forth is crazy. Oxy not knowing anything, right? And like not even really knowing why he's here, because his justifications, his understanding isn't very full-formed. He's carrying somebody else's torch, yeah? Without his own reason for doing so yet. But by the end of the episode, he's got a slice of heaven that he can see. I think that's reason enough. I think that is. I love the way that Badeni like snatches up notes and investigates them, almost super interesting. You can tell what he's obsessed with. Where's the retrograde? Well, he didn't really understand it. We didn't know. I can't spare my time. Why must I be here in a place like this? And we come to understand what it is. He's been outcast from the academic side of the church, off in rural Nowheresville, and it just so happens that he's been positioned exactly where he needs to be. This punishment, right? Blinded to the world, blinded to his own research, to the stars, unable to take measurements, and outcast and put off to the side, places him right in Oxy's path, right next to the cache, right in Rafal's right nearby. Wow. So he is punished many times, so this is not the first time this has happened, for doing too much. Fundamentally, for being taller than everybody else, for standing out, for making everyone else look bad. It reminds me so much of like the beginning of Hot Fuzz. The Simon Pegg Nick Frost movie where he's like a policeman in London, and the opening scene is talking about how awesome he is. He's done all these driving courses and cycling courses and incredible arrest rates and perfect everything. And the first scene, he gets called into the office by his superior, and they're like, "Okay, you're being promoted and being sent to a little cottage in the country." And he's like, "Oh, I don't want to go to the country. I want to stay in London. This is where my job is. Can I take this up to the next person in line?" And they're like, "Okay." They're going to say the same thing. Bring in the next person. They say the same exact thing. Go all the way up to the chief of police, and he sits down and he goes, "All right, I'll just level with you. You're making everybody look bad. You're making way too many arrests. You do too much. You're beloved by the people, and everybody thinks that everybody else here sucks. So we're going to remove you and put you far, far away so that you don't make us look bad anymore." It's exactly like that. And in that case, they end up coming back at the end and being like, "Please come back to London. There's so much crime without you. We really need your help." But I don't think they're going to come back for Badeni. They don't care about seeking truth or pushing the information forward or even furthering the actual health of the church. They care about maintaining position, maintaining status quo, and preventing people from standing out. You know what this means. Punished. You must observe the rules, keep in step. He's like, why? That's stupid. Why would I cooperate with people who aren't good enough? And so he has him do the punishment himself, and he overdoes it even there. I don't know exactly how to interpret this, whether it's just overzealousness, or if he just takes everything to this extreme. I don't really understand. I don't know how to interpret it. Good, and then, hey, may I speak now? Is it just a play to get the ability to speak here? I'm not sure. Because the next line is, "For as long as punishment earns me the freedom to study." Cannot afford to be prudent. You'll be swallowed by the times. If you rely on prudence alone, you'll never grasp it, what I've been waiting for. This is distinct from Rafal. Rafal was like, if some crazy world-changing moment comes, I will not accept it and I will stay on the proper path because that would be irrational. But instead, Badeni is like, I'm waiting for the moment, for the one moment that's coming, and I know it's coming. And being prudent, relying on common sense is never going to allow me to grasp that world-shaking moment, that moment of greatness. God's greatest riddle. All the answers are in the Holy Scripture. I came across this idea over the course of the weeks between, and I was just reminded of it now. I think there's a quote about it that maybe I should go and try to find. Let me go try to find the quote before I paraphrase it and fuck it up. It's a Stephen Hawking quote. Good. "The greatest enemy of knowledge is not ignorance, it is the illusion of knowledge." Stephen Hawking. Thank you, my guy. I will solve God's greatest riddle. Why do the stars blah, 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 blah? One answer, we don't know. Leaves the door open. We can find the answer. Other answer, it's described in the scriptures. We already know. It's already done. No need to figure on that question. The answer we have is good enough, even if it's not good enough. We already know. Now there's no door open. The illusion of knowledge. It's hard, though. How do you apply that in reality, in your own life? How do you examine the things that you think you already know to make sure that what you believe you know is actually true? It's hard. It's not something that we're sort of like built from the ground up to do. It's something that we have to actively structure into ourselves, that we have to actively choose to pursue in invalidating and validating our hypotheses. It's like hard. And that's why it's important to note that, to like say it, to focus on it, because our tendency is to believe what we already believe and believe that the answers that we hold, even if they're incomplete, even if they're not even an answer, they're just something that we made up in a second in order to justify something. You'll see people do this all the time. Anytime people are conversing, it'll be like, oh, I wonder why XYZ political thing is happening. And somebody will drop an answer to it that obviously doesn't come anywhere near close to capturing the complexities of the thing. But with an answer placed, we can just put it away. We don't need to worry about that problem anymore. We're solved. We can check mark it off and we're done, and we get 100 out of 100 on our damn test. And it's bullshit. It doesn't actually solve the problem. It doesn't dig into it. It doesn't give us an answer. But because we have that answer, because we have something that fits, we can just turn away. We can pretend that it's all good. And that's one thing, but what about all the things that you've already unconsciously had answered for you? Like in the world of Orb, almost every person has it consciously answered for them, or like unconsciously woven into their structured view of reality that Earth and heaven are separate and Earth is static at the center of the universe. And so like every time that a question comes up that there's a wrinkle to, pat answers come out of the woodwork and immediately fill that void, that questioning, curious space with something that doesn't fit, but it fills the space anyway, and that means there's no room for questioning. There's no room for curiosity. There's no room for wonder. There's no room for truth. There's no room for truth. There's no room for confirmation and actually seeking out what is there, as opposed to what we presume must be there and then smash into the square hole. The illusion of knowledge. All the answers are already there. No, they're not. But the reality is different. They devolve. We must confront the nature of this riddle, otherwise God's design was flawed. And so he's setting himself out as like, my goal, my fundamental goal is religious in nature. It is to prove that God is not a fool. To prove once and for all, using scientific observation and truth, take the empty void and prove from first principles that our world makes sense, that it all operates in harmony, in heavenly harmony, in unison. Because how could it be otherwise? If we are to believe what we believe about God, it could not be otherwise. It could not be so chaotic and so broken. What an interesting character, and what an interesting collision of characters. Your lust for knowledge is too strong. Curiosity is a sin. He finds the forbidden writings, and with the threat of your eyes being burned out and losing your ability to think and see and pursue your goals, he chooses it. And now, confronted by Oxy, the door opens to him once more, almost as though his eyes are given back by this man who can't look through his own, can't look up at the sky until now. And Oxy has overcome that now. He's able to look up at the sky. He's able to see that beauty. He's able to dispense with this firm worldview that void is filled with suffering. What if it's not? What if it's in harmony? What if it's the opposite? That possibility changes everything for Oxy. I think we can be pretty confident that this will be life-changing stuff for Badeni, but it's already been life-changing stuff for Oxy. Just by the end of the episode. How much more can they change over time? This Badeni guy is pretty smart, and he's had a history of dealing with what happens when the church finds you with bad juju, so he's going to be careful, I assume. Where do we go from here? How do we begin to, like, both solidify this knowledge and then find allies and figure out if his goal is publishing, then that requires some allies and some people who believe in this and some coherent writings, like a coherent theory, all put together, not a big chest full of things, but like one paper that documents it and lays it out and makes the argument in a way where anyone who reads it has to either, deal with the fact that it doesn't compute with what they believe and either throw it away in disgust or change what they believe. They're going to move the world. I'm excited to see how. Thanks for watching this week's episode of Orb. I think we're going to wrap it there. I know I jumped around a lot through the discussion, but this episode, all the pieces sort of puzzle together. They sort of click in a bunch of ways. And so there are parts that you see at the end that you have to go back to the beginning to make sense of. And the whole thing sort of works all in unison. But I gotta say, with that cool, deep, bassy track and some of the music that happens in the ending scene, all the way up to that big reveal of the sky that's been hidden behind all these eyes for so long for Oxy, I think this is cool. I think this transition into this next generation Oxy, but Danny, the girl eventually, is really exciting, and I'm really thrilled to see what this next generation of thinkers and hopers, wanderers discovers. Thanks for watching the episode with me. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope to catch you next week for the next one. You can get a little bit early on the Patreon. Otherwise, I'll see you right here on YouTube next week. Much love. Peace.